I was at a wedding this weekend at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and the father of the bride had private security at the hotel.
Yeah.
And how was it?
We were safe. I'm here.
I don't know, but you have nothing nice.
Yeah.
Who's going to rob you? You have nothing.
No, fuck you. I had a Tom Ford suit on, bitch.
Oh, yeah, they're going to be like, give me your top. Let me see that tag.
The coupon stock.
Yeah, where are you going to sell that on Poshmark?
We heard they're profitable.
Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, group chat.
Cash.
It's $1 trillion. Hot.
Hey guys, welcome to group chat.
Woo!
Woo! It's Sunday night. We got a lot to talk about. It's a big news cycle, I guess you could call it. Maybe that's what they call it in the business. The elections are kind of coming to a close slowly. A lot of time counting. Dee's not happy, and his vote hasn't been counted. Your vote hasn't been counted?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so Dee's outraged.
Dee's trying to stop the steal.
Yeah, Dee's been checking in on ballot counters. Things are getting a little weird over here. But
Yeah, why isn't my ballot counted?
I don't know. You might want to look into it. But the election is winding down, and we have results and stuff coming in. So we're going to talk about that. This whole FTX SBF fraud of the century is still news about that. So we're going to talk about that. There's a little bit of Elon Musk Twitter news and some Dave Chappelle news. Dave Chappelle monologue. I don't know how. I mean, strong feelings about the monologue from the group chat crew. Audience, I'm sure most of you guys watch it, so we get to that at the end. But you guys can think about how you felt about it, and then you'll hear how we all think about it at the end. But a lot of opinions about Dave Chappelle's monologue, and that and all the other news that you need to know going into the week. Who's ready?
Let's go.
Let's go.
Woo!
Hey guys.
Hey.
What's going on?
Happy Sunday. We still got a lot to catch up on. I mean, last episode I feel like was like an influx of news that we had to catch up on, but it's still coming in.
It's unbelievable.
It's a blue wave.
Nonstop entertainment. Yeah, what's going on? We got a blue wave in Nevada. We just got a blue wave in general. How are we feeling about the waves?
The Senate looks officially is going to the Democrats, which I am shocked.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's a referendum on, misinformation and election deniers in January 6th.
Because it's not a referendum on the economy.
Yeah, because everything else is terrible. But
I know, it's pretty wild. Because even it's once again, I'm normally your midterms would flip, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Obama, Trump, everyone's flipped.
Joe Biden's unbeatable.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is just
he
literally
the greatest president of our time?
Sleepwalking through success.
I mean, the guy's sleeping through just absolute domination.
But it's also like insane how bad the rhetoric got on the other side.
Yeah.
That people are just like, you know what? I don't care that inflation's at an all-time high. I don't care. My gas price is $7. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I can't eat. I can't do anything. I lost my job. No lunch at Twitter.
No one's lost a job yet. Starting.
The people that support Joe Biden lost their job.
That part didn't come quick enough, though. I think that, this has to be the wake-up call of all wake-up calls for the Republicans, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they better be going to Ron DeSantis' house and begging him to just
keep going,
get out there fast.
So do you think Florida is as red as the rest of the country is?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that's the case at all. I just think
I still think you can win, though. I think it's.
You don't think
I do think you can win. I don't think the rest of the country is as red as Florida, but I think that there's a lot of voters that just want shit to make sense. Yeah. And I don't think, Ron DeSantis has some, little off the wall shit, but like, it's not election denial harping. It's not all this woke stuff. It's, I don't know.
This is what Ron DeSantis has to do. I'm not even joking.
DeSantis, I mean, his statement on his victory speech was Florida's where woke goes to die. So basically that's his campaign mantra.
It can evolve.
I think a lot of the country likes that.
Yeah.
I think that's like, I don't think that's extreme language.
Yeah,
I think the majority doesn't like woke. The majority doesn't like election denial on this side and ultra woke on that side. And so if there's a Democrat in that zone, and like if I'm the Democrats, I don't know who they have.
Oh, because keep in mind, Joe's like, the next president. You don't know that?
Oh man, he's kind of like alluding to running, huh?
He's running.
No, he said he's running.
He's 100% running.
Oh, he made he said it.
Look, Joe Biden's 120, 130. Nancy Pelosi's 100. Mitch McConnell's 150. This is it. This is the new politics.
This is wild.
You have to have been around in the 1800s and you could become president. It's just a joke.
Is wild. Okay, because let's say they're like, because keep in mind, we're all Democrats here. Like, we're not saying, yay, go Ron DeSantis, but like, who's the Democrat Ron DeSantis? Because the only person I know that they are thinking about putting up is
Gavin.
Newsom.
Yeah. The big conspiracy Democrat kind of thread is Joe Biden runs for president again, which obviously now that's confirmed. Kamala Harris is not the VP because I don't think she's polling well. Gavin Newsom is the VP. And he steps down right away. And Gavin Newsom's president. That's the rumor.
That's a conspiracy.
Conspiracy rumor. That would be, I mean.
I will say Kamala Harris, where she campaigned, she had positive results.
I don't know where she campaigned.
So, I mean, she did Karen Bass. We'll see.
I mean, that's not hard. They painted Caruso as Trump.
Yeah, they did a great job bashing Caruso. I gotta say, the stuff I see like on Instagram and TikTok of like people are reacting, as far as I'm concerned, worse to Caruso than Trump. It's wild.
Yeah,
no, it's completely wild and unwarranted
and inaccurate.
So she was effective.
Inaccurate. Yeah.
Well, I think that's what's happening in politics right now is like, especially now, I feel like more so in the past, it's really not about your policy. It's how bad can you paint a picture of your opponent. And you could vividly remember, like George Bush's, the dad, his was no new taxes, like, Bill Clinton, it's the economy, stupid. Like you could remember Barack Obama, Hope. You could remember all of our previous presidential candidates' campaigns were around what their policy and what they were pushing. Today, it's not about that. It's just that person is worse.
Trump, right?
But I think it's actually LA deteriorated into that, meaning the rest of the country proved that sane people can get elected.
Not in LA.
Not in LA.
If you are saying you should not. So
I think LA's way worse than the rest of the country.
Like the fact that Sam Yebri is behind.
Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada, like you name the state, sane people won.
We have insane people in our city.
Yes.
I mean, the fact that Sam Yebri is down after listening to him speak on the podcast and how he's connected with people is fucking shocking.
And then you told me the city council person is a defund the police guy.
Yeah, the person in my district, I live just north of where Yebri kind of council district ends. And Mitch O'Farrell has been the local councilman. He was at our little Halloween thing. Great guy, like really wants good for the community. This person is like leader of the Democratic Socialist Party in LA, like just completely off, what so many of people who have like kids in the district, or there's not one, for example, in my neighborhood, everybody has a Mitch O'Farrell sign. There's a few Karen Bass signs. There's a few Rick Caruso signs. The mayoral race is different. There's no one supporting this other person, and he's about to win.
So what do you think it is about LA?
I think it's become LA secretly, as diverse as it is racially very divided still.
Mm-hmm.
And I think ultimately that is a big problem with the city. We saw what happened with the city council in LA. The Latino leader was talking bad about the black
community
child of Mike Bonin, and like it's just we're actually a very racially tense city. And
but how does that lead to the outcome we just got?
No, and especially with crime as bad as it is, like it's undeniable how fucking dangerous the city is.
Yeah. Our friend Mikey sent us a video of what happened on the subway, I think today or yesterday.
Yep.
I take my kids on the subway. It was insane what just happened. Like, just a crazy fight between two people. One guy had a taser gun, one guy had a shank. I mean, it was absolutely batshit crazy.
Oh, man.
But it doesn't matter. If you think the opponent is Trump, I mean, the problem is people locally think that the mayor of LA controls abortion. They do think that.
But what do you think it is about crime that no one wants to solve? That's what I'm confused about.
I'm telling you, they made a good move, and they got a lot of Democrats to believe that all this crime talk was code in Republican language for racism. Like, people are committing crimes. Oh, there's so much crime. Almost like, oh, there's so many black people. Like, that's how they made it like a racist thing, as if they're saying the word crime instead of black people.
No, so I was at a wedding this weekend at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and the father of the bride had private security at the hotel.
Yeah.
And how was it?
We were safe. I'm here.
I don't know, but you have nothing nice.
Yeah.
Who's going to rob you? You have nothing.
No, fuck you. I had a Tom Ford tune on, bitch.
Oh, yeah, they're going to be like, give me your Tom. Let me see that tag.
The coupon stock.
Yeah, where are you going to sell that on Poshmark?
We heard they're profitable.
No one's taking shit from you.
But my point is that's even like a thing. We both got married at nice hotels, and that didn't even cross our mind 6 years ago.
It should definitely rob our weddings.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is current. So I could be wrong here if she's updated her views. But AOC like months ago said like, oh yeah, all the crime in LA that they're talking about. I think that was a couple stores that got broken into. That's no big deal. Like they really did a great job at spinning it to Republican racism. And I think, I don't know. I think obviously a lot of people feel it. Like we all feel it. But when it comes to the marketing, they did a good job.
It's interesting because I know a lot of older people that voted for Karen Bass, and I know a lot of younger people that did both, voted for Karen Bass and they voted for Rick Caruso. What's interesting is 99% of the people I know, and I hang out with parents at school all day, and they're very vocal about like their support and who they're supporting with. It's interesting because like, you know, like our own mother voted for Karen Bass, and she had a reason why. She said Rick Caruso.
Misinformation.
Rick Caruso's dad was a used car salesman that went to jail, and none of that stuff is inaccurate. That part's not inaccurate. He did all those things, but that's not a testament to who he is as a person. Just because you have a family member that, you know, Hunter, you can argue that you shouldn't have liked Joe Biden because of his son.
Yep.
Does that make you a proper father if your son is doing this?
Think about Donald Trump's like lineage.
Exactly. So like, I think you have to separate the family from the politician at some point, but like there's enough, I think it directly impacts our life. So we have a very different view. If it does not directly impact your life, you have a different view. Like where drama lives, it impacts his life. Where we walk and have kids and do that, it affects our life. People who are telling me they voted the other way, they may or may not have that view that it affects their life, right? Like they may be like, no, I think the city's great. I mean, let me
give you an example. There was another thing that happened. Just to give you an example of like what's happening is the YouTuber Casey Neistat moved to Santa Monica or whatever, and his car got broken into, I guess, multiple times or something. And he posted a tweet and said something along the lines of, you know, this sucks, this crime is terrible, you know, whatever. And Seth Rogen went in on him on Twitter and said like, fuck you. If you don't like this city, you can get out, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay. Like the guy wasn't saying like vote Trump. He was just saying like the crime sucks. And a guy like Seth Rogen, who's a high profile guy, took offense to it. And, but I'm guessing he probably hasn't come face to face with crime. I don't know. It's really interesting.
I mean, I think crime is at an all-time high in terms of like the nicer parts of town. Mm-hmm. I don't think we've ever felt unsafe other than the last 2 years. And I'm very curious what the other side can say.
Here's what I'm curious of too on that point is like, do you think that the Democrats, or whatever,
it's
in
not
LA,
even
they're all
Democrats.
Democrats.
Yes, everyone's Democrats in LA.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, do you think that these people that are very defund the police and all this stuff, no cash bail and all that stuff, do you think that they know behind the scenes, like, okay, we almost, that was a big point that we almost lost on. It is pretty crazy. We got to start changing our tone. Or do you think that they just, for the next 2 years, full steam?
Yeah, I don't think
they don't see any problem.
If it doesn't affect you, you don't see their problem. Like, I don't think where you live, which is the nicest neighborhoods in the world, you hear sirens all day and helicopters.
It's bad.
Yeah.
You should see where I live.
He's
There's a spotlight on my apartment as we speak.
and by the way, where you live is extremely nice as well. So it's like, it's a joke. It's a joke. I'm sorry. I don't care. And I don't give a fuck what anyone labels me as anymore. All I care about is my family. And if they feel unsafe.
Me and John both pay a lot of money to live where we each live.
Exactly. And that's my point, is that like, if my family does not feel safe, dude, my wife had to call me last week at 6 p.m. She's like, is it okay if we go for a walk right now? At 6 p.m. And I was like, yeah, take lights, do this, do that. And they went for 15 minutes and they called me when they got home.
I couldn't go home from the podcast 2 weeks ago.
I live literally 100 feet from my building door to the door of a concert venue. And last night, Corrine had a friend doing a show and wanted to walk over. And I was like racked with nerves and watched out the window to make sure she made it 100 feet at 8:30 p.m.
What about when the concert's over?
She had people to walk her home, but there she had to go alone. And it was like, oh, fuck. Like, it felt like, oh, I don't know, babe. You're going to war.
You're like at the Gaza Strip and you're crossing the border.
Oh my God. It was crazy. Look, I just hope that, the other side of the Democrats, once again, because everyone's Democrats, that they see, like, I know if it doesn't affect you, it doesn't affect you. But if this is your job and you see the statistics and you see the numbers going up and you see I don't know, how can any human, if that's your job and you see this stuff happening, explain your way out of it or ignore it or willful blindness or whatever it is?
Look, if Karen Bass is the next mayor, I hope she takes it seriously, puts police back on the street and does those things, because like there's nobody in leadership that can just accept fucking incompetence, because that's what it is right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so Nevada, I just want to make sure, is there anything else? Like, is there any other big news? We're pretty much cooling down.
I think the country's more sane than Los Angeles. That's my take.
I think the rest of the country would say no shit to that comment. I just know, like, from where I'm from, like, LA is, like, we are known for
stupidity.
We'll just being, we're super democratic, super liberal, it's always been that. And
it's so funny that's the case, because when I go out to dinner or lunch or whatever with people, it doesn't feel like that at all. Everyone is a lot, like my little bubble of people, let's call it 50 people, is very much, we have 2 chats. I'm only in 2 group chats that I'm active in.
You're in a pretty like conservative Democrat bubble though.
One, yes, absolutely. There's one with all Indian
one
people.
is all right.
There's one with all Indian people that has gone shockingly right. I'm not going to put their name out, but like
They all listen.
They all listen, and in the last 2 years, it went from like whatever, like to like, yeah, I had Navy SEAL training at my house. I have 17 guns. I'm ready for fucking the Russians. I was like, what? What's happening here?
They're big to truth.
What?
They're big to truth.
What's the truth?
DeSantis. That's a new slogan.
Yeah.
Desanctimonious. I just know because I have been recently around groups of young people that it is not the other way. Like I've heard the anti Caruso is Trump. I'm just saying, Dee, what you don't realize, I think, is that you have gotten older. Your friends have gotten, more successful.
My
a lot
friends
of times.
are now right wing. It's okay.
Yeah, and I think that your bubble is a very like right Democrat.
So
bubble.
what's funny is
pay no taxes.
I know I have a group of younger friends that are white that are all Rick Caruso though. So
I mean, ask Ari.
Like
Ari's sitting right there behind the soundboard. He's fucking hates Rick Caruso.
Javier, did you vote?
I did.
What'd you vote for?
Our boy Rick Caruso, obviously.
Ari, what'd you vote for?
Karen Bass. What the fuck do you think this is?
Tay, did you vote? Tay didn't vote. Ali, did you vote? Which would you vote for? Okay, Caruso. Okay, and these are young people.
Yeah, but they're they're part of the.
So Ari, can you explain to me why you think Karen Bass is a better steward of the city?
And don't say anything negative about Rick Caruso. Tell me why Karen Bass is better.
Karen Bass has served, I think, 6 years in the U.S. House of Representatives. I think she did 6 years as a state senator before that. She's an accomplished legislator who has a very good staff that she's built in Los Angeles and in DC. A lot of that staff is coming to help her in LA.
Give me a policy. Don't be a politician. I want a policy what she's going to do. Not, she's a great politician. No, of course. I want to know something she's going to do.
You're
the
one that's always
better.
saying that they're all saying we're going to fix homelessness. They're all saying they're going to fix crime.
Maybe she wants more homelessness.
Are you making that claim?
I don't know. Maybe she is.
No, she said it takes more than 4 years, and Caruso said 6 months.
I mean,
I like 6 months.
Like if you go out there to downtown LA and you start talking to those homeless people, a lot of them don't want to leave. For a lot of them, the places that they've set up camp, that's home for them.
Beautiful.
So no, not that it's beautiful, but that's all they have in those communities that they build for themselves. That's all they have. So cleaning it up isn't just having a room to put these people in. It's also convincing them to get out off of the street.
I know, and not to be insensitive, but like there are people that live there, they have children, their kids go to school there, and like they're not if they were just minding their business all the time, I don't think we'd have this problem. They're just not stand-up citizens. They're like, we just don't have homes, but we just want to be left alone in the corner. That's not what's happening. You know that.
Yeah.
Do you know when I walk outside my house, there's fucking human defecation every fucking day? We have to walk around.
Yeah, we have no public bathrooms anywhere. You got to go to a fucking Starbucks and risk getting.
Whoa, Starbucks! That is the greatest brand this country has. If you ever talk shit about Starbucks, you're out of here.
So Ari, I'm just curious, and there is no agenda behind this question, but would you be in favor of like putting public restrooms out so that the homeless people had a place to use the restroom?
So I could have a place to go use the restroom. Shit. Yeah. Why not?
You're not using it. By the way, there are two basically indie gumps next to Rock and Roll Ralph's where there are a lot of homeless people for them.
Great. More of those toilets. More public toilets.
So as long as we give them public toilets.
No, I mean, you got
give
them public
them housing.
I agree.
Give them housing. They
but
don't
it's
want to
not
live
just
on the
about
street,
housing.
bro.
Yeah, of course, but it's not
Give
just
them
about
housing. It's
I'm with
money.
you.
You know how much money we've allocated for this? We have money. We have money. We have tons of money. Money's falling from the sky in this state because of Apple, because of fucking Tesla, because of Facebook.
and small business, like yourself.
No, I'm thinking it's mainly because of them. I'll keep it real. What they pay is way more than what I pay. I'm just saying, like, why not better the city? Fuck it. Why accept it?
I can't find one person that feels safer in Los Angeles than they did 3 years ago. Do you know one person that can say that honestly?
Well, I think there's just people that aren't affected.
Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, he probably has more guards.
Yeah, more guards.
More security.
You feel safe?
Yeah, that's true. I think people that just aren't affected at all. Like, I do think there's some people in,
if you live in like
gated community. I mean,
yeah, you live in like a gated community in Northridge,
Beverly Park. Ask them.
Yeah,
how
Beverly.
Yeah.
No, what are you talking about? The Beverly Park people can't even go down the street.
You're right. They love to eat lunch at all the places that are.
If you live in the valley and you live in some nice part of the valley,
like Porter Ranch,
you're not experiencing this.
Yeah.
And even though there are an uptick in all of these things, I just don't know. Like, I don't know.
I think our bubble got affected the most.
Our bubble clearly got affected. Dude, two of my closest friends left the city. They do not live in this neighborhood anymore.
Where'd they go?
You know exactly where they went. I'm not going to say where they went, but they don't fucking live in this neighborhood anymore. And these are lifelong Angelinos that grew up in this area, and they do not live anywhere.
All their venues are here, too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they don't live here anymore. That's crazy. They're like, I'm not dealing with this shit anymore. That's local people. And they have kids, they have this, that. They're like, fuck this. I'm not dealing with it.
I just wish I understood I wish I understood the other point of view, like that crime not being so important.
I mean, I would love to. I don't think we have a sound argument.
No, there isn't. Yeah. I'm sure people can come and argue and you're gonna blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. If you feel unsafe, you feel unsafe.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you say to me. That's why the argument doesn't matter. Until people feel safe, then it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it's insane.
It's insane.
I mean, I told on the last pod, one of my best friends was at the Montage, now called the Mayborn.
Yeah.
It was locked down because of active shooter.
Dangerous part of town.
It's literally the nicest part of town.
It's literally the nicest that LA has to offer.
Yeah.
Like, that's wild, man. Okay. Well, I mean, we'll see what happens. I think at the end of the day, all that we want is better living conditions for everyone, a better city, a more welcoming place, less crime, less, scared to go out and walk with your kids. And who knows, maybe the people who just got in do that.
I hope so. I give everyone a shot. I gave Donald Trump a shot. He obviously blew it.
You really gave Donald Trump a shot?
I was like, you know what? I think he just said all this shit just to get elected. Yeah. When he gets to presidency. I genuinely believe in people in in everything. Like, I think
Trump was pretty obvious.
Sure, maybe.
I felt what Dee's saying though too. I kind of thought like, okay, but there's no way he's going to be this wild in office, and then he was twice as crazy.
Listening to his inauguration, I'm like, you could have done a little bit to bring the country together, and then, and if Karen Bass becomes mayor, like, I will give her the benefit of doubt. But if it doesn't, then I'm going to turn. Like, I'm not going to give you the benefit of doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think Karen Bass is going to be the mayor. That's my guess.
Yeah. I mean,
we like just down to the wire here? Or?
Well, no, LA County takes, 6 to 12 months to count the votes because we're fucking inept. We're just a bunch of morons.
Did your vote get counted yet?
No, it's still not counted. Can you believe it?
Kidding?
By the way, you could track your ballot. If you want the link, hit me up. I will give you the fucking link. You track your ballot. My ballot has not been counted. God damn it.
Huh. Is she in the lead right now?
She's in the lead by 4,000 votes.
Yeah.
But the thing is like, first of all, Why is this? I don't care. I'm not even calling fraud. None of that. All the nonsense. Why does it take this long?
Your ballot was mailed in one Monday.
Tuesday dropped off.
Okay.
Maybe there'd be an
Just
extra
say
case
you
with
received it.
the-
I don't even want to know that you counted it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Scan it and just say, hey, D, we got your ballot. We haven't opened it up yet, but we got your ballot.
Yeah.
Should have been next day.
I don't think that's a tall ask. When do you actually think the final votes will be given and the election will be certified? December?
No, I think
You know these
by
bureaucrat
Tuesday.
fat cats are taking off for how
These damn
fucking
fat
Thanksgiving.
cats.
I think they'll announce a winner by Tuesday. Is my guess.
No way. Zero chance.
You don't think so?
It's too close. Dude, how many people? I think we said that the winner has to get over 1 million plus votes. It's like 270 to 250. They haven't counted shit.
Yeah, that's wild.
My kids can count higher than how many votes these people have counted.
Yeah, I mean the whole thing's. So what you're saying is you don't trust the election.
I'd
Stop
actually
the steal.
We're saying stop the steal.
Stop the steal.
Hold the ballots. We need to check.
I mean, what else is
man.
going on? What is going on? Why does it take? Why does it take 6 weeks to count some ballots?
I don't know. Seems a little fishy.
I remember being in the warehouse, and we would do inventory counts. We would count hundreds of thousands of units in like a day or two. This is the entire purpose.
Yeah.
And you can't count some votes?
Stop the steal.
Stop the steal, right?
All kinds of funny business, huh? You know what's
Right.
even funnier? Is Sam Bankman-Fried's hair.
Man, this guy is the clown of the century. I mean, clown of the century, right? This is Bernie Madoff. This is a
way-
modern day Bernie
Times
Madoff.
100.
This is
Yeah.
way bigger because I think he's going to basically take down the house. Like it's not like Bernie Madoff had a tremendous impact on his clients, but because it was in the public equities market and it was like it didn't have like a rippling impact that I think this is having.
Yeah.
This is hundreds of billions of dollars is getting wiped out.
Yep.
And now basically everyone is like, exit your money after every exchange. Everyone's going to run on every exchange right now. It's absolutely madness.
Yeah. The ripple effect of this is wild. And with Bernie Madoff, I mean, he just didn't affect your average everyday person. And most people didn't even know what he was doing, what his fund even was, what that even means. With this, like everybody understands. You know, crypto became so popular, even if they weren't in FTX or didn't have their coins in FTX or anything like that, like they can relate.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing though, because I thought he was a crook from the start. The moment he moved to Bahamas,
Everything's a good thing. The world falls apart. It's a good thing.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good thing for an economy to kind of graduate. And the moment he was in the Bahamas, the moment he started talking about billions of dollars to presidential elections, it was all fraud.
So what's up with him and supporting all the... Because apparently they want him to go after everything he invested in. He gave a lot of money to the Democrats.
Yeah, and he gave a lot of money to fund managers that we know.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a big conspiracy theory there, yeah?
Yeah, I mean,
That's insane.
if
I'm
you
just
go
saying
after
it
the
exists. I'm
funds,
saying it exists. I'm not saying
I mean,
it's
Jesus
true.
If you go
Christ,
after-
that's
if
the
you-
most tinfoil thing. Like,
but if you're going
I'm
after the
saying.
funds, look, if you're going to go after the funds, then you have to go after the party. The party has to, it's a fucking, give it back then. No fund should have to give it back if the parties aren't giving it back.
I think the fund managers are going to be screwed.
I don't think so. I don't think what I don't think you realize is there are too many powerful people involved. They're not going to let this affect this fucking dork keep the money train from running. They're going to throw him under the bus. They're going to throw his girlfriend under the bus. Both of them are going to be locked up and no one's going to get affected. You think any mega fund manager is going to be affected by FTX? Absolutely not. Zero chance.
Yeah, no
Nothing
way.
is happening.
Well, no, I don't think any of the investors in FTX, but I think the people he backed are going to be affected.
Maybe if he hasn't deployed the capital, yeah, sure. But no one's going to get arrested. No one's going to do anything.
No one's going to get arrested. They have to give the money back.
I don't think so.
I think the small guys. You do a couple for show.
Yeah,
We know how
maybe
this works.
you find a couple schmucks to take down.
We know how this plays out.
You
You
gotta
grab a
throw-
couple schmucks, you put it in the
I
news.
do
Who are the-
think
like-
this is bigger than anything that, at least in the tech industry, that we've ever seen. And given the people that are involved, I think there's going to be some consequences.
Only for 2 people.
But like,
I
what
don't
type of
think
consequences on it? What do you think?
No, because we've heard Sam has backed a bunch of fund managers in venture,
Yeah.
and I think they're going to be screwed.
No, you know who's going to get screwed is Robinhood tomorrow when he has to liquidate his $500 million position.
No, I don't think anyone that invests in FTX gets screwed. Obviously not. You just invested. You lost your money. It's fine. Like, that's what we all. I've lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's fine. I do think he kind of.
But he gave so if you believe that, then the Democrats that he backed have to return their money to.
Well, it's already spent.
So the funds can say the same thing too.
No, but they'd rather go after business people, right?
I think they're
Depends on
opening a
who
can of
they-
worms. That's my
where their
point. I
donations
think they're
were.
opening a can of worms if they go after anyone. When the guy gave so much, he's second to George Soros in the Democratic fundraising this cycle, which is pretty nuts because that guy gives a lot of money.
Yeah, that's really interesting. But
That doesn't help the tinfoil case.
no, it doesn't.
Which
Because George Soros is
George Soros invented the tinfoil.
as tinfoil gets. And so you're telling me that this number 2 guy, I don't know, man, that starts to get real tinfoily.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he gets like, I don't know. I think a couple little things happen to say they did something, but I don't
When
know if
is
you
he
want
in
to open that
cuffs?
can of worms.
When is he in cuffs?
Why is he not in cuffs right now?
because he's in Bahamas.
Did you see the
Have you
rumor that
seen
he
his
like flew to
penthouse?
South America?
So he has, there was a rumor that he went to Argentina, which has an extradition agreement with America, so it's not a good place to go. There was a rumor that the girlfriend was going to go to Dubai, much better place to go
Yep,
because
that's where CZ is.
yeah, you can't get extradited.
Yep.
He has a $39 million penthouse
In what country?
in Bahamas. Very odd place for someone like him. I mean, I don't know. I
What
didn't
is
take
odd?
him for the
Bahamas?
orgy party type, but that's the type of house that is.
What, the penthouse? Wait, are you saying what's odd is the penthouse or the Bahamas?
No, the penthouse in the Bahamas that SBF has doesn't suit a guy that apparently this weekend was playing League of Legends because they saw his profile.
Oh, really?
Hours they were saying he was playing.
So he's trying to get his gaming in.
Yeah, I mean, why would you have this beautiful
It might be his
penthouse?
last gaming for a while.
No, a guy like him is having a video game in jail.
It's just, what's really funny to me is how incredibly poorly all of these videos age after something like this happens. There's videos of him like with Tom Brady, with Bill Clinton, with fucking
Giselle?
Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank saying he's a genius. Why are all
The
the
only
smartest
one-
people in the Bahamas?
The only one is Larry David, where he was like,
Did
I
he?
don't think this is. No, there was I think it was the Super Bowl commercial with FTX where someone's trying to explain to, I forgot who it was, maybe it was someone famous, about crypto. He goes,
Oh, that's good.
I don't
Of
believe
course
this.
he did.
yeah.
Of course. The
Because
only two
Larry
people who
David
got
probably
out
was like,
scot-free were Larry David and Elon.
yeah, and Larry David basically was probably like, I don't believe in crypto, it's fraud. And he's like, fine, just say that in the commercial and you get to have it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many videos popping up now that are so bad. But I mean,
I think
But they
Matt
can-
Damon and Tom Brady top tick crypto.
Yeah.
can they go get him in the Bahamas? I mean, what's taking so long?
There are all kinds of tinfoil shit. You can ask about that too.
Wow.
His relationship with the SEC chairman, Gensler.
His parents, I saw his parents pop up in
His
some tinfoil
parents,
hat.
so-
Isn't one of his parents like a Stanford lawyer?
Like
Both
ethics
his
lawyer
parents.
or something.
His both
compliance lawyer.
both his parents are beasts. He was born at Stanford.
He went to MIT.
MIT. His parents are brilliant people. They're very progressive in their like political beliefs. So like, there's all kinds of like
I'm putting on the
connections.
hat.
Yeah. Put on the hat.
Put
Get
on the
some
hat.
Reynolds aluminum foil. Make
Yeah.
it a nice little baseball
Twisting
hat.
up the top. Yeah.
Twist it on the top and have
So
a
I can
good
tune
night.
into the frequency. Man. I mean, it's just like
It's a layup. It's a layup for tinfoil. This guy is a layup.
But
And
man,
then he
are
looks
we-
like that. You know what the problem is? Is that when you come off, he always had this arrogance about him, about like money and giving it away and like the way, you know, like this altruistic kind of vibe, which I think now is becoming like the way to take him down. Like, oh, you're just... Yeah, of course you're giving it all away. You stole it.
Yeah. There's like a quote of his like, my goal is to give away all of my money or something. And someone put mission accomplished.
He's an easy target.
It's
It's bad. It's really bad. It's really sad. It's sad to me because of how much money people lost in the last week. How many people lost their accounts? People that were on leverage. I mean, let me see even what crypto's at. I mean,
we all lost money.
Yeah, that's my point. Because this one person is a fraudster.
It's just funny because he was touted as such a genius.
You should, if you as a founder ever get the opportunity where they say you're the next anything, fucking don't do it.
Yeah.
Has the next anything ever panned out?
No.
The only person in my lifetime where I've seen in media live up to their hype, one person.
Who?
And I saved the magazine because I believed in it, was LeBron. When he was in
The
high
chosen
school,
one.
that was the only
Yeah.
person ever.
I'll say Zuck too. Zuck lived up to it. Sorry.
Did he? You should
Well,
apologize. Stock's
should
down
wait a couple
70%.
years.
Yeah.
It's still $250 billion company.
The story's not finished being written.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think Zuck.
So Zuck and LeBron are the only two that lived up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Everyone else is a clown.
I mean, it's like a
Potentially.
curse.
It is a
You
curse.
just don't want people to say that. You don't want people to put that on you.
No, you don't want to be the next anything.
But the funny thing about SBF is all it took was a fucking balance sheet.
Yeah. That's absurd. Like the fact that, once again, I love the fact that, like you guys called it out, the fact that every Silicon Valley, and not that I have any reason to trash Silicon Valley investors, but like they all said about the Theranos thing.
Yeah.
This wasn't us. You made this look bad. And man, this one's way worse. And
Way worse.
it was everybody.
This is hundreds of billions of dollars.
Yeah. And this affected regular people. Theranos did not affect regular people.
No. It affected like every single person investing in
Like
crypto.
Henry Kissinger or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, whoever was at Theranos.
Oh, at Theranos,
Boy.
yeah.
I really want to know like what the recourse is.
Nothing
Nothing
ever
Hat on,
changes.
and
God,
put
you're such
the
a fucking
hat
idiot.
on.
Nothing changes ever. Every fraud is bigger than the next.
No, because
remind me who got arrested in 2008 with the
yeah. No, because
credit default.
here's the thing that I wanted to make on the last pod, but I'll do it now. Is like I'm a beneficiary of being in venture and making money and life-changing.
Are you admitting to crimes?
No.
Mm.
What I'm saying
Oh,
is
Are you
this
saying
is-
you're the next?
Lock him up!
Lock him
Lock him up!
no, but what I'm saying is it's okay to be honest about it. Like we just got lucky. We invested in an industry that compounded at a rate that no one ever thought
Dude,
because
no
of 0%
one wants to hear
interest rates.
that.
Yeah,
They want to
that's-
hear a
there's no book
thread
there
with
on
that
it. You
little
can't
thread
sell a
emoji.
book.
They want to hear a thread emoji of saying, "Oh, I saw SBF jerk off while he was playing League of Legends. I knew he was a genius."
But like I can tell you, like I'm very honest about what happened with me.
You're
I got-
lucky.
I got lucky.
You're not smart.
No.
Okay, that should be your venture pitch. If you could raise $1 billion
you should
as
say,
a fund manager, be like, "Hey man,
Just say, I
what's
don't
your secret?" I don't know, man. I'm really fucking lucky.
Been lucky so far.
I got lucky 3 times.
Okay,
it's fine.
So why don't that should be your pitch? Because
Yeah.
everyone else
Honest
is a fraud.
ventures.
Honest Ventures.
Yeah.
You could Abe Ventures because you're
It's
honest.
spelled
Abe.
A-N A-N-O, Anand and then honest. Do a little play on words and do honest ventures.
And you wear the Abe Lincoln hat.
So like everyone who goes on, so everyone who goes on these podcasts and talk about how smart they are, how they found these markets, they're all full of shit.
Yes. I've been saying that. When I remember the first time we sat and got pitched by venture founders. I'm not a good investor because I said all these guys are full of shit. Every single one of these. And some of them became like legendary founders. And I was like, this guy's a fraud. I can't listen to this fucking clown talk about whatever he's saying.
Anand, I have a question for you. This is an honest question, not just for the podcast. But like you have a friend who is a very accomplished investor. Mm-hmm. Where do you sit? Like, do you put like, is there a small bucket in your head of very smart, accomplished investors? And then there's just a lot of people that ride the wave, like all the early investors in Uber and like all of that? Or how do you see it?
I think it's both. I think you have the lucky guys like me. And then you have people that are able to structure investments that are very capital market savvy. They're able to make money in deals.
Got it. So it's more about the structuring of the deals than the actual picking.
Yes, exactly.
Got it.
I like.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah, that's
I'm
really
just a lucky guy.
Take.
I didn't have a capital markets savviness. I just put money in early.
That's
a good take though, because it's easy for that to come off like, oh, everyone's fucking lucky. No one knows what they're doing. But it's actually what that is there's just the savviness isn't in what it's advertised in. Everyone says, I have the golden touch. I know how to pick. I'm a genius. I can spot a unicorn from a mile away. But the real savviness is something different.
Yeah, I think it's, and if you look at like who has returned the most capital, it's because of the ability to structure their investments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Be able to play more rounds.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good take. Okay, well, anyway, Honest Ventures, I think, has a future. And I also think, to be honest, like that's the reason why people like this pod and like hearing from us is because you do have those sort of takes as opposed to, oh, look at us, we're all geniuses. And
yeah, because I mean, I can't even say anything anymore, but it's
Dee's a venture-backed founder. He can't say shit anymore.
Dee has so much swirling in his head right now. On the tip of his tongue.
Give me 3 years.
If Dee gets an exit, this podcast is going to change.
If I get an exit, holy shit. We'll be all in podcast times 1,000.
Oh my God, after dark. Might have to switch to fucking Patreon.
We'll be kicked off all the platforms.
Okay, do we want to talk about this Elon Musk thing?
Yeah.
This Twitter thing? Okay, so Twitter, you kind of alluded to it a little bit, Dee, earlier, but there's this little, I mean, I'll tell you what, like we said last week, I know Twitter might be like bankrupt by Christmas, but it is such an entertaining time. I mean, Twitter has never been more entertaining. And one of the main things is love him or hate him, doesn't really matter. Elon on Twitter is, it's so entertaining. And through this whole process of like taking over Twitter and buying it, he's tweeting like so openly and going back and forth with people and doing all these things while the thing is either A, burning to the ground, or B, maybe being figured out. I don't know. But there was this new thing where he was talking about the price, the amount that Twitter was paying for their offices, for their meals, for, just all the money that went to offices and perks, and the lack of people that were actually showing up. They had a really low, he was saying, from the data on people's badges of them scanning in, there was really low attendance, but they were still paying for all of these perks and all these crazy things.
So it turned into a thing where Elon tweeted out in response to an article saying that Mr. Musk plans to begin making employees pay for lunch, which had been free at the company cafeteria. And then, it turned into like, oh my God, he's starving people. By the way, I think the lowest paid employees at Twitter make like 109,000.
Do you guys honestly believe this doesn't end in a complete disaster?
Well, let's first talk about this lunch thing. I actually don't think it does either.
You don't think it does?
No.
And I right now would put it at 60-40, 60 not disaster.
Yeah.
Really?
It's
because
true.
you want to know why? This is the thing that everyone's missing is while this is all happening and all the politics stuff and all the fuck Twitter and all the, it's all happening on Twitter.
Twitter.
Because there's
Where are
no
you
other
saying
place
all
to
this? Yeah.
It's
You're
so
not going
weird.
anywhere else.
No, I understand that, but I'm just curious in the sense that like this guy's got 3 other companies to run.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well,
I don't
is he
know.
just
I'm not
literally-
saying.
So something's got to give.
Yes, I agree.
You know
And
what's
I'm-
going to give? The
that's why I
lunch.
said 60-40.
Twitter spends, according to Elon Musk, Twitter spends $13 million a year on food service for the San Francisco headquarters. It says the peak occupancy was 25%, average occupancy below 10%. There are more people preparing breakfast than eating breakfast. They don't even bother serving dinner because there's no one in the building. $13 million. This is a poorly run fucking business.
That's fine. But my point is, if Elon's focus now, he's sold $4 billion to, keep his accounts kind of safe of Tesla stock. How is he running Tesla?
You know why? You know what he built at Tesla? It's something called autopilot. Do you know what autopilot means? You don't got to drive it. It's driving itself.
You
Hands
think
off the
Tesla's
wheel.
fine?
You just check in
Tesla is
every now and then.
unfucking
It's actually
stoppable.
trading at an all-time low from 2020.
Yeah, so is everything else.
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, Apple,
Low
Google are all
schmo.
pretty close. Low schmo.
Stock
Low
price.
schmo.
He
What
said it was
gives?
too high.
Drama, what gives?
What
Of all its companies, SpaceX, Starlink.
SpaceX is starting to advertise on Twitter. You know that?
That might be the only one advertiser left.
I was literally telling someone the other day, they're like, what are you doing about advertising? I'm like, you should advertise on Twitter. It's probably cheap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every small business should advertise on Twitter right now.
Do you get
The
canceled if you
traffic
do
is
that?
bananas.
That might be like
I'm
a
on Twitter.
Rick Caruso type thing. Like, I don't know if is that bad?
Am I bad for advertising on Twitter?
Yeah. Do you get in trouble?
Whatever.
All the virtuous companies they're out.
Oh, yeah. GM, big virtuous company.
Yeah. They're doing wonderful things for the environment.
Yeah, big. I don't want me to bring up everything they've done in their company's fucking history and take down every one of those companies. If I had nothing better to do, I would take down every single company that fucking abandoned Twitter's advertising.
As far as what gives, I don't know. But I've been asking that for a long time. Like, how about the threesomes with Cara Delevingne give? Like, I've been wondering for so long how he does all the stuff that he does anyway. I think
the
know.
bigger
I just
problem is
believe
not time. I think the bigger problem is not time with Elon Musk. I think somehow he's figured that out. I think the problem is he's continuing to piss off the wrong people.
Which is who?
Which is like, for example, the Senator Ed Markey, who is on the communications subcommittee or whatever it is, and they got into a whole spat today. And the problem is like the thing that annoys me is you're on this like mass communication subcommittee. You're doing nothing about TikTok, zero, but you'll go with.
But I think the thing with Elon is, I kind of think when you're that famous and you're that influential, and you're that like everyone listens to everything you say, he's teetering on the kind of Kanye level. Not saying he's Kanye.
Yeah.
I'm like very clear, and he's not Kanye, but you think there's no repercussions to anything you do.
I agree. I agree. I think he is pushing the boundary too far where he's going to blow it all up.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I don't think anything can take him down. I think he can take himself down, though.
Yeah. No,
I think he's going to get to a situation where he has to run for president because it's either that or you have too many
go to
political
jail.
enemies. Yeah. I literally think it's going to you're going to have so many political enemies that you have to.
This Donald Trump it and just win the presidency.
Yeah. I don't know.
Wow.
I like in all seriousness, I've been wondering for a long time how he does it and what gives. The only thing I can say is Twitter is just so unmatched and there's nothing even close for what it is as a social network. And there's just so much value in that. It's just structuring the business and figuring it out and where is the value and how does this make sense financially. But like the platform, while everyone is saying it's burning to the ground, it's over, fuck Twitter, I'm sure that Twitter is more popular than it has ever been.
I mean, CZ and SBF destroyed hundreds of billions of dollars on tweets.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the whole Sam Bankman-Fried thing has unraveled on Twitter. It's nowhere else.
Yeah.
What's funny is I'll give you an example. Since Friday to today, and if I ever watched like cable TV, I watch Bloomberg, I watch CNBC, I watch Sunday Ticket today for football, and then I watched some ESPN on Saturday for college football. Every single channel had tweets up on the screen.
Oh, like part of their broadcast.
Yes.
I watch UFC throughout the whole UFC fight is tweets.
Yeah. And so it's like, no matter where you are, you're not referencing what's happening.
I mean, I've been very open about it. It's my favorite platform by far.
So you're all right.
I'm all right.
You support Twitter and Elon.
Yeah. I don't know about you anymore.
That's how it works. That's how
Fat
politics works. You fat cat.
Lucky fat neighborhood.
You're just a lucky fat cat. If any
accidentally
illustrators
got
listen to the podcast, I want the fattest, luckiest Indian-looking cat with a fucking Laker or Dodger hat.
Oh,
if any illustrator listens,
Holy cow.
At least I'm honest.
The hat should be like Abe Lincoln, but it has a Laker logo.
That's good. I don't know. I just look, we all know, like we've seen, like to me, I look at it this way, like, you know how there's been brands that have been so hot, but just so poorly ran. And then somebody like, Authentic Brands Group or somebody like that buys it, fixes it all up. All of a sudden, this thing becomes a behemoth. I just think Twitter is a massive version of that. And I don't think that things are playing out exactly how we're seeing. So I don't think Elon is actually spending all of his time on it or will be in the future. I think Elon, the only thing that makes sense of why he's been able to handle so much is because he must be one of the best in the world at finding talent and putting talent on the right projects and figuring out how to delegate and do all that stuff. And I just believe that the same way he's done it for those other companies, he'll do it for Twitter. Twitter's hotter than ever and it'll work out. 60% likely, 40% it explodes.
It's pretty high.
It's high. It's very high. But you'd have to.
I don't think Twitter ever goes away. He just may not own it.
Yeah, that's the creditors.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be owned by, Larry Ellison owns it or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just like,
that'd be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like at some point the boards of the other companies could kind of demand it, right?
What board?
Like he's always had this situation of if you don't like me, fire me, sort of. As far as I know,
board of directors at Twitter.
No, not
is
at
the
Twitter.
only
I'm
one.
saying up all the other companies.
Oh yeah. They may tell him like, focus on Tesla. Stop fucking around on Twitter.
Yeah. Because as far as what I've heard, he is structured. When this stuff came up with Zuckerberg and the fact that he can't be outvoted, Elon has structured all of his things that if you don't like him, fire him. And I just think there's a potential that, if the shareholders and the board from the other companies said, yo, you got to bail out, I think you could just do that.
I agree. If I'm a Tesla shareholder at scale, I'd be really concerned that he's focused on Twitter.
Yeah.
If I was a Tesla board member, I'd be like, sell this thing for $20 billion. So what? We'll fatten you up with Tesla equity. Like we'll find a bonus structure.
It seems like just an awful use of time for this guy
because he could be a trillionaire.
Yeah, I think for when he thinks about his legacy, if he gets humans on Mars, liberates free speech, and solves climate change, I think that's his goal.
Yeah.
And I think he puts free speech up there in importance with the others.
And if he really thinks this is a simulation, it's all a joke.
Yeah. I mean,
that's
it's
also
really
true.
funny.
None of it matters anyway. What
really
I don't
funny.
get is the guy was at a fucking Halloween party with his mom or whatever in a full costume, posing on the red carpet. Where's the time for that?
I mean, it was a hot party.
Which
Listen,
party
I know
was it?
J Cal or someone over on the team. I know you guys listen. All I want to know, if you can come on the pod, is how the fuck does Elon do all of this? And
What's his calendar look like?
what are we
he's
looking at?
scheduling
60 or 40? How's he
Sex.
find time? It's absurd. I think that's the greatest. Like when you like the same way you said
He was
the
at
actual.
Heidi Klum's party.
What's that?
Heidi Klum's Halloween party.
Oh, that's where he was.
Not like a Tesla company party. Like you're finding the time to make the Hollywood
A
rounds.
plus, yeah, the A plus party too.
Okay. What about TikTok? Yeah, I know you mentioned the senator and that he wasn't looking at TikTok. There's an ad revenue issue.
Yeah, so TikTok is claiming they did $4 billion in ad revenue last year. They came out and said they would do 12 this year. It looks like they're going to still grow insane, but they're saying they'd be closer to $10 billion of revenue in ad revenue. So
That blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean,
Because TikTok's, it's the hottest thing in the world.
yeah, so it actually is more a reflection of how bad the advertisers in this space are actually doing. They're actually struggling on another level that's just probably pretty hard to.
So you're saying the businesses don't have the money to spend?
Exactly. I think it's really, really tough for people to justify money on any ad network, given just how tough business is.
But I will say, like TikTok, kind of notoriously, as of today, doesn't return well. Like they haven't figured that out. Like it doesn't.
Yeah, I haven't heard anyone that is like thrilled with the return on ad spend of TikTok. Yeah. I've heard people that do extremely well because of TikTok's organic push, but not because of paid. Did you guys ever do advertising on the game?
Yeah, we've done a little bit of everything. We've done organic, we've done influencers, we've done
Is Facebook better?
Ads. It's really hard to tell. I can't honestly say. Look, you do on Facebook or Meta, Instagram is all we do. Is you do get a higher return, trackable return. But I just think that there's something in TikTok that you're not seeing it, but it is returning in other ways.
You know what the thing
in terms of just relevance or what?
Yeah, I just think TikTok is so relevant, and I do see a lift on certain things when we run ads on it, even though the reporting isn't great. I also see it at wholesale. I just see it in other places, and I feel like it's just you're in the pop culture conversation and the parties at TikTok right now. So I don't think you can not do it, but you just can't scale it the same way that you used to be able to on Instagram.
I think the biggest thing that I've, at least when I go on TikTok versus Instagram, on Instagram, I leave platform all the time. Yeah. Like if some random friend posts an article on stories, true. I'll go click it and I'll go read it. I see some interesting ad, I'll go click it. I never leave TikTok.
It's because it's crack.
Yeah.
You're just you need the next hit.
Yeah, that's you're not leaving crack for heroin. You're just crack.
It's crack. I know. It's that's kind of why I think that if you just have ads running and influencers and you're just in the conversation,
that's good enough.
I think people aren't going to tap out of your app in that second. There's nothing good enough to not give them that next video, but you got to be in the conversation, I think. But I think that's the point. If you're a business trying to just scale your spend, I think it's really hard to do on TikTok with ads. Here's our last but not least topic. Dave Chappelle did the opener for Saturday Night Live. It is getting all the rage. I looked last night, so I watched it last night. I didn't know that he was going to be on last night. So I saw the news that a lot, the writers were all boycotting him being on there. I guess not for whatever reason, there's been a lot of heat around Dave Chappelle recently. And so the SNL writers apparently were boycotting. And then all of a sudden I saw it start to pop up on my feed. I went and watched his thing on YouTube. And then I checked kind of the general, what are people saying? It seemed last night like everyone was in love with it. It was amazing. I didn't really see any negative feedback. I don't know where we are a day later. He did address Kanye, Kyrie, a lot of the whole kind of anti-Semitism thing. What do you guys think?
So I watched it. and I thought it was awful.
Awful.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Tell
thought
me
he
about it.
encouraged anti-Semitism. I think he encouraged Kanye and Kyrie's behavior,
There was a
And I
little
was,
bit of that, right?
and I was very against it. And I love Dave Chappelle. We've seen him a bunch of times. We've all gone to his kind of private shows in the area, and I thought it encouraged bad behavior.
Yeah, that's fair. Dee, what was your take?
I found it to be very entertaining.
I didn't think it was that funny either.
No, I don't. But I don't think Dave Chappelle.
He's kind of morphed into
Is-
this other thing.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, but if you're going to be a thought leader, then there's responsibility with that, and that's what I don't like.
Yeah, but he gave his responsibility to what he thought was right. We don't have to agree with it, but he thought that was the right path. And I
so what's
actually,
the path?
I actually agree with you. I watched it and I was like, oh shit. Like you didn't condemn to the point that I felt comfortable. And I agree with you on that. But with that being said, I did find it entertaining. I understood for the purposes of like just getting a reaction, it was good. Like he served his purpose. I'm sure it got a lot of engagement on social media. And at the end of the day, he's an entertainer. He's not a
I think he's graduated from being just a comedian. To be, in my opinion,
I know, but that's what he believes. You don't have to agree with it, but that's what he believes. He believes that.
I mean, what he ultimately said in his monologue, because I watched the full thing, was that Kanye and Kyrie got a bad deal, a raw deal, which I 100% disagree with.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. I think his point is that he doesn't believe that.
Yeah, he doesn't. And
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I don't agree with it. And I thought,
And I'm shocked. I agree with you because considering who the producers of the show are, and
like Lauren Michael allowed that to go on.
yeah, he did. And I think at the end of the day, like the idea of just letting people speak their mind is part of the beauty of entertainment and shows like Saturday Night Live. Like it's okay if Lauren Michael didn't agree with it, it's okay that he let it on. And it'll be determined by society if that is accurate or inaccurate. And they'll reflect in their wallet. I actually think the best way to react to anything is actually with your wallet, not with your Twitter.
Yep.
And if people do not connect with Dave Chappelle because of it, then that's fine too.
Drama?
Yeah. It's funny because after hearing this, what's funny, after hearing you guys, and then I also talked to one of my Jewish friends about it today, who he brought it up, and he was
What'd
like
he
kind
say?
of offended by it
I
and mad about it. And
if
then,
I was Jewish, I would be offended by it.
100%.
100%, I would be offended by it.
100%.
I saw that and I was like, "Fuck, that is not what I would have gone up and
So
said."
I think with Dave Chappelle, kind of his kind of mantra has overcorrected, which doesn't exist in America. Meaning, we saw the elections and the extreme, like kind of like, fuck you, we do whatever we want, doesn't exist actually in America. And America is actually way more sane. And I think Dave Chappelle's a little on the other side. And his monologue yesterday proved it.
I think my take, just because I kind of came to the conclusion as you were saying that, and as I think my take is, I guess, kind of what Dee's saying, which is, I talked to my friend today who was offended. It kind of was a little bit of a wake up call. Like for me, I was like, oh shit, I didn't really realize. Like I thought like, oh, he did diss Kyrie saying he doesn't even probably think the Holocaust was even real or, whatever. He had these little jabs in there. It did sound to me like at the end of the day, what he was really saying was he felt similar to them. And I was like Dee said, like, oh, that's fucked up. But I guess what I like is I like that we live in a place where he can do that. Like he can make this kind of jokey, kind of serious, whatever the fuck he even is now, like borderline comedian / thought leader. Like I like that it happens and that you get to tune into it and you get to say, what's his take? And I don't totally agree. Like, I don't know. I'm glad that it happened. Like if I could go back and erase would he have even had that platform? I don't think I would have changed that.
No, of
but
course. Like, obviously, free speech. Like, he didn't do anything that was like anti-free speech. But I think the problem is like bringing seriousness to the issue.
Yeah.
And that's what I struggle with, because I think it emboldened kind of the other side. Like,
yeah, I don't disagree.
And that's what makes me, because when you're that famous and you're that popular, you have responsibility.
Yeah.
That's just not what this country is about, though. There's never, it doesn't matter if you're Donald Trump, Dave Chappelle, Elon Musk, nobody.
That's honestly what I respect about, like, honestly, like, kind of revere about Barack Obama. He knows how famous he is. And when he speaks with his words,
he toes the line. Yeah.
He's very, like, careful. You could very obviously see he's taking it with responsibility.
This is, and this is why it comes down to, like, he's extremely well educated. He's extremely well read. And who do we have as the thought leaders in this country? A bunch of fucking morons, right? These people are not well read. They're not like,
because even Barack Obama talked about Russia and Ukraine. He's like, hey, we need an open line with Russia.
Yeah.
Like, he was the only liberal Democrat to be like, hey, maybe we should, like, think about this
because he's fucking smart. The other people that are now in charge of the fucking asylum that we call the United States government, they're not smart people. I'm sorry. Like, we let a bunch of morons hijack the narrative of everything, whether it's the Democrats or Republicans, or whether it's woke or
I also don't think Dave Chappelle can hide behind comedy anymore. He's too powerful. It's not comedy.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. I don't know. Yeah,
I laughed at a couple of things. They're funny.
Yeah,
no, but I'm saying, like, and comedians are able to hide behind the veil of comedy, and I think he's too freaking powerful as a voice and as an opinion. Like, you can't hide behind it because you influence so many people. And I think what he did last night was terrible.
I want to know what Andrew Tate says. That's our thought leader.
I mean, you know how I had a great post about Andrew Tate I wanted to share on. Like, I can't share it.
What's funny is when you said, like, our thought leaders are idiots, or when you said it, I was trying to think in my head, like, who's, like, the internet, like, thought leader, and Andrew Tate is what came to mind.
But that's the reality, is that, like, we as a society revere people that just have strong opinions that aren't actually thought through to those opinions. Like, and by the way, I'm not one of those people. I have opinions based on gut. Like, I am not fucking well read.
Aren't you the most famous person on the planet?
Fame is different.
But you're a little Andrew Tate, and, you know, a little.
I agree.
You're a hot take guy.
I'm hot Tate.
Yeah, you're Andrew Hot Tate. I would say probably if you asked our listeners, like, whose takes do you enjoy the most, I'm sure it's yours.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, as a being very
you're an
open
entertainer
about it. I'm doing it because that's what my gut feels, and and I'm just trying to get a spark out of people. Yeah, I'm like, I would say I'm more an idiot than I am a fucking smart, well thought out thought leader.
Yeah, why are the Murthys the Murthys are tearing down the fucking?
You're a lucky fat cat.
you're an idiot. I'm lucky. What are you, John?
I don't know. I must be a complete doofus. You guys are really tearing down the fucking veil of.
But I'm okay with that. When I think about people that are making humongous impact on people, I always talk about, like, just intellect and education. There's something about that I think the people that are genuine about it, like, unfortunately, SBF is full of fraud and he went to MIT, but there's people that actually went to these schools that are well read, that are well thought through, that actually have provided incredible value to society when it comes to thought.
So
the problem is they're boring.
When I watched Dave Chappelle, I know you guys both watched it. Did you feel like that was comedy, or was it a lecture? It felt like a lecture.
I felt like Dave Chappelle, like I just expect this from Dave Chappelle. He is now in this bucket in my brain that is like pseudo comedy, but pseudo a statement from Dave Chappelle. And I don't know what to call it. No one else is in that bucket in my brain, but I expect that. It's sort of like, how's Dave feeling? But he says it in a very well thought out way.
What's funny is everyone's like, he's Mark Twain. Well, Mark Twain wrote a bunch of fucking books that no one gives a shit about.
Well, yeah, you just said you don't read.
Yeah, exactly. Are you reading Mark Twain books?
No, I'm not.
Exactly. Thank you. I hate when people tell me like, oh, I read Mark Twain. So what?
That's a lie. It's funny how there's like this thing. I'm trying to think if anyone does it well. There's this thing where like the educated, articulate, all that stuff people are like the actual people who should be thought leaders are really boring. And then the really entertaining people aren't usually, the most well-read, educated, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know if there's anyone who does that well.
No, the problem is that in today's society, educating has to be entertaining. Otherwise you lose interest. And I think the biggest opportunity in the creator economy is to be an intellect, but with my humor.
Well, we can step
Andrew
it up a couple
Tate
notches
with your humor.
If you were me, but
I
was
wouldn't say
very
Andrew
well
Tate's an
educated.
intellect.
Andrew Tate is just an
Andrew Tate's
moron.
more on the humor.
Dee's
less on the
obsessed with
intellect.
Andrew Tate.
I do
clearly.
enjoy it.
I mean, look at his style
so
of
entertaining.
entertainment. Yeah.
He's just shock value. He's just shock.
Yeah,
shocks.
Dee's tuned into the shock value. Like that's what he likes. That's what he is. He's our Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
Group
Dee's
chat
Andrew
Tate,
Tate.
minus the misogyny.
That's the name of the pod, right? Dee's
Minus the
Andrew Tate.
kickboxing tattoo fit guy.
And the women are property thing. But other than that, it's similar.
Unfortunately, I'm nothing like Andrew Tate. I have nothing in common.
No Bugatti.
I don't have the cars. I don't have the whatever.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I will say that when I watched, just being honest about it, when I watched it last night, I was a little bit more like, oh, that was cool. That was fun. That was his take. And then I didn't, it's talking to my friend today, talking to you guys, I realized that it was a little potentially more hurtful than I originally.
Yeah, I mean, given the sensitivity of the issue, and by the way, Saturday Night Live audience is not like it's not a big audience by any stretch of the imagination. Like, but nobody watches it.
They get impressions.
That clip's
getting impressions.
Yes, but I do think it's like it leans smarter in terms of people that look at it, and I was honestly shocked that was the monologue.
I
did not expect
that we got text messages of how amazing the monologue was, and then I watched it. I didn't watch it till I didn't watch it till probably 12 or 1 p.m. today, and I saw text messages, and I was like, "Are you guys insane?"
Yeah, because it didn't affect them.
Have you talked to any of your Jewish friends?
I don't think they watched it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I don't think it's...
The irony is Anand said, man, wait till they find out about how powerful Indian people are. They're going to come after us.
Yeah, you guys are screwed. Yeah,
you know what the thing about Indian people? We're very under the radar. I would say I'm the biggest loudmouth Indian in the world. Who's bigger than me?
Bigger loudmouth?
Can you name an Indian person that has a bigger mouth than me?
Bigger mouth? I don't know, but
I don't think bigger mouth.
I think the point is
that's it.
Anti-Semitism is so large and disgusting.
Yeah,
and I think Dave Chappelle's monologue illustrated it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair take.
Yeah, I agree. I actually agree. I actually watched it. I remember I watched it early this morning.
I couldn't believe anyone liked it.
Yeah. I liked it for the entertaining value. Look, I don't agree with anything Andrew Tate says either, but I can find it entertaining.
Yeah, but he's a clown.
But he says crazier shit than Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, that's
Dave Chappelle is like a known, like, kind of...
Why do you have any expectations of anybody anymore? I have zero expectations.
I was disappointed, and
I think maybe
To
you
all
think
our
too
Jewish
highly of
listeners, I stand with you, and I'm very disgusted with it.
Who are you
I think
standing
maybe
with?
you
To our Jewish listeners,
Okay.
I think you have too
you
high
were
of
standing with-
expectations for Dave Chappelle. Maybe.
Yeah.
Like I just think that I don't know. Has he
He's just
earned
an
the
idiot
right
comedian.
to have like has he?
He's just
Yeah,
a comedian.
Yeah.
Why do you think he's not running for the president of the United States?
he might. Who knows?
Anything's
I
possible.
mean, he's not winning.
Yeah,
Should
this is
look at who the
interesting.
donors are.
I mean, he's big in Ohio, middle of nowhere, Ohio. It's a big
All
swing
right.
state. Okay, that's all we got.
That's it.
Okay, thank you for listening. No shout outs, right?
No.
Okay, thank you for listening. Everyone have a great week. Yeah, we'll see you on Tuesday.
Yep.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.